Welcome to Resident Evil 7. This game you play as Ethan Winters. He's trying to save his wife who went missing, and this is the first place he decides to look. Yeah, I don't think she's that great of a wife. Now, believe it or not, but before I played this game, I had never played a horror game before, much less a Resident Evil game. You're probably wondering why I decided to pick this specific game to be my first horror experience. Well, I narrowed down every horror game and decided to pick the best one, and they added this one to Game Pass, so I just thought, why not play it? Which leads us to this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Resident Evil 7 from Perspective. As I mentioned earlier, you play as Ethan Winters, who receives a totally normal message from his wife who has been missing for 3 years to come and find him at the Baker Mansion. Now, while this plot has been used a few times in games, this gets much, much deeper. Let's start by talking about the Bakers. The Bakers are the main antagonists of the story. Instead of classic mindless zombies, each have their own personality, creepiness, and gameplay attributes. Jack Baker, the father of the family, he can rapidly regenerate his cells if wounded to the point where he's almost indestructible. Jack roams the halls of the mansion, while you try and complete tasks, popping up around corners, making you run the other way. Marguerite Baker is Jack's wife, who can control deadly swarms of insects. She also roams the halls, looking to stop you from doing tasks. But watch out, you might meet some of her little friends along the way. While all of the Bakers are deranged psychopaths, Lucas Baker takes it up a notch. He has a knack for technology and engineering. He creates jigsaw-level puzzles for the player to figure out. And finally, Grandma. But if I were to talk about her, well, Lucas puts it best.
Now that would be telling, Ethan. And I don't do spoilers.
All these characters come together to create the perfect cast of antagonists. The story also takes a key role in the game as well. Capcom decided, instead of directly telling you the story, we make you piece it together. Most games, you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. Resident Evil 7, you slowly unravel the mystery of the Bakers and why Mia was even here in the first place. It's an ingenious method of storytelling that doesn't get too complicated. The little notes, pictures, VHS tapes, and figures are short and sweet. Some can help you piece what little info you have together, and some can lead to a lot more questions. I hope future Resident Evil games utilize this way of storytelling as well. Now let's discuss the gameplay. Long story short, it's phenomenal. What might surprise many is that the game takes place in just 3 different houses. Every time you visit a new portion of each house, you find keys that unlock other doors. It's an effective way of feeling claustrophobic, because that's what this game is about. Something could jump out at you at any minute in these creepy dark holes. Noises like windows banging, doors closing can scare the living daylights out of you. Sometimes the horror gets in the way of gameplay, but usually for good reason. PSVR is another way to play Biohazard, and from what I've heard, it's actually really good. Just look at the amount of awards it won for VR. Keep in mind, I haven't gotten to try it out yet, so I'll probably make a separate video on it when I do. Now let's talk about what I don't enjoy as much. There's no better place to start than with the Molded. The Molded are the basic zombie-like enemies you find throughout the map. While they can be a little scary at times, they do get kind of annoying. There's very little variety in these guys, and facing them the entire game gets a little repetitive, but the Bakers make up for it. Another problem I have with this game is the end portion. Don't get me wrong, the actual ending is solid, but you can tell the game starts to run out of steam. It's as if Capcom couldn't help themselves and had to add tons of Michael Bay explosives like in Resident Evil 6. Fortunately, these are just minor details in an amazing horror survival game. I'll definitely be picking up Resident Evil 8 when it comes out. Overall, I give this game a 9 out of 10.